Welcome back to Giant Monster Games. My name is Ted, and today we are playing the Boros Blink Combo in Modern. We have a one-land hand, and as much as I love the fact that we have our infinite combo in hand with the two Felidar Guardians, I feel like we have to mulligan. So let's ship that, and we got another one-lander. Alright, I say we keep it because we have two bolts. Maybe we can get rid of our opponent's first couple plays. As much as it pains me. Perfect. There we go. See, we get rewarded for the risky keep. Our opponent plays a mountain, and they pass it to us. Alright, we will see their mountain and raise them a mountain, passing it back to our opponent. I feel like they had the same plan we did with the bolt. Very possible. Okay, they play another mountain. I love the art on the mountains. Raging Goblin. I feel like this player's played a long time. They love their classic art, which I can't complain. It looks beautiful. So right now we're going to bolt their Goblin and let it come back to our turn. I'll play a Battlefield Forge, and we will play a Soul's a Tenant, and we will leave up Bolt for another one of their plays. It looks like they're on Goblins, but I'm not entirely too sure, so hard to tell. And we pass it back to our opponent. Okay, they cast Lightning Bolt right back at us. Fair enough, opponent, fair enough. And they cast a Frenzied Goblin. Alright, we will lead off on, what do we think? Wall of Omens for a defense, or a Croon Striker into Wall of Omens. Well, we don't have a land for this turn, so let's try to make our land drop. Come on, land. Our opponent is on Goblins. Yes, our land, see? All the riskies are paying off. Okay, they're playing a Goblin Bushwhacker with Kicker, which is fine because let's see what this says. When it attacks, target creature can't block. Okay. Well, let's before they move to combat, we'll strike down the Frenzied Goblin, and so that way he can't cast or use its ability to make our Wall of Omens be unable to block. Okay, so I'm thinking they might have Bolt backup. So I'm going to take the 2, because I feel like they're going to Bolt when we have the 2 damage placed on our Wall of Omens to get rid of it, because this is a really big annoying card for them, and they have a hard time dealing with it. So we'll just take the 2. I feel like we're safe doing that. And then it goes back to our turn. See, I feel like Genesis Chamber in this kind of a matchup might not be the best idea, or at the very least we have to hold it until we get our combo in hand. Right now we have half of a combo. Unfortunately, like I said in the deck tech, these 2 cards, they can't really blink each other, so that's why we only have half of a combo. Croon Striker is what I think we're going to lead off with, and then we'll pass it to our opponent. What are they going to do to get around our Wall of Omens? Okay, they move to combat. They're swinging. Bolt is still enough. We can take the 1. I feel confident that we should take 1 because they're still hoping for that Bolt plan on our wall. So what we can actually do right now, they're low on cards in hand. We are pretty good. I think we're going to lead off on, let's cancel that. Let's lead off on the Genesis Chamber. Then we're going to cast the Soul Warden, getting us 2 creatures entering the battlefield, and that will give our Croon Striker +4, or it'll be a 4/1 with trample. So we'll get in some decent damage back at our opponent. They're reading what Soul Warden is, I'm assuming. And then we have those triggered abilities going on the stack. And we will attack. Our opponent takes 4, and we pass it back to them. Alright, our opponent untaps. What do they do? Legion Loyalist, okay. We're going to give them a token, and we will gain a life. So we're really hoping to draw next turn would be either like a land or the other part of our combo. Okay, they're going to Reckless Bushwhacker in, so they're getting another token. All their tokens are getting haste. We can't block with our Mirror token because of the Legion Loyalist saying that we can't attack, or we can't block their creatures with any tokens that we have. Here comes a big swing. Yes, its ability goes off. Alright, let's decide what we block with. Well, our biggest source of damage is like tied between all of their creatures. So let's block a Loyalist because we can. And so we'd be taking 2, 4, 6, 8 damage. Okay, another Genesis Chamber is not what we were hoping for, and I don't want to keep giving them more mirrors, so we're going to hold that. We don't actually have any available plays with that at the moment. What we do have is the ability to keep these on blockers. I'd like to keep him alive because if we get the combo online, then we can swing in with an infinitely large Croon Striker and just overtake the match that way. So I think we have to play it safe. We have to play it close to the ground and just keep our heads down until we get another piece of our combo. That or some land would help, so we can start casting some Restoration Angels. Maybe take the game by air. So we pass it back to our opponent. What do they got? Okay, they skip right to combat, and they're going to swing with everything. Cannot be blocked by our mirror token. And we will block their 2-1 with our 0-4. Down to 7. Wall of Omens might get us out of the situation. Depends on what we draw off of it. But it's realistically our only play right now. It'll give us a token. I should have been swinging in with a mirror token. It can't even block, so... Alright, let's gain some life. Let's make Croon Striker bigger. See how this deck synergizes? Get Genesis Chamber giving us another creature, re-triggering all those. So we gain a bunch of life out of it, and we drew a Soul's Attendant. Let's move to combat. We can swing in with a Croon Striker, which we might as well. We don't want to block with it. We can swing in with our Mirror Token because we don't want to block with it. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage on board. We can block. Alright, we'll pass it back to our opponent. What do you got, opponent? They play a mountain, a Reckless Bushwhacker with... Okay, a Reckless Bushwhacker. Its search cost wasn't paid, so I don't believe it's going to have the ability to pump everybody. It's not. Okay, perfect. They get a token. We gain 2 life. Soul Warden's really paying our way. Oh, and then they are surging in another Bushwhacker. This might be the end. We have been stuck on mana. Alright, Legion Loyalist ability goes off. And let's declare blockers. I'm pretty sure we have to block with everything right now. So let's block the biggest threats. He's a 3-1, 3-1, 2-1. Okay. I'm not even sure that this saves us. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It does not. So we're going to the sideboard. Good match, opponent. So this deck is a go wide strategy. For sure. I think our Genesis Chambers just need to come out of the deck. They have too many creatures for it to benefit us. They do play a lot of red, so this core Firewalker is going to be it'll be completely phenomenal. Boros Charm will help us get in some double strike damage with a bigger creature. Like those Croon Strikers, it could have swung in for 8 if we had it in our hand the last game. So yeah, I think this is good. Let's run that. Alright, and we're back. So, I would like to play first, of course. And we have a 2-land hand. We can go for, let's see, a game plan here. Yeah, I like this, We can lead off on the Soul's Attendant. In turn 2, we potentially play Croon Striker or the core Firewalker. We have Bolt. Alright, yeah, let's keep this. I like this a lot. We're waiting for our opponent to decide what to mulligan to. Alright, our opponent decides to keep. Let's lead off on a Soul's Attendant. And we will pass it to our opponent. They're going with a mountain, and are they going to follow it up with a turn 1/1/1 haster like last time? Yes, they do. Raging Goblin goes off, we gain a life, so it's like nothing happened. They got a tapped creature. I love these Soul Sisters. Our turn, we'll play a Battlefield Forge, followed by a... Yeah, let's go with a Croon Striker. Unfortunately, we're missing our land drop. And let's get in with our Attendant, and we'll pass it to our opponent's turn. Our opponent decides to swing in again, and what else do they do? Mog War Marshal. Alright, that's going to get them a couple tokens, but that'll also get us a couple life. Alright, we did not draw another land, so that kind of stinks, but we do have a core Firewalker, Croon Striker, Impact Tremors, and it's available options for us. I think we should go with the core Firewalker right now. Actually, let's go with the Croon Striker just because he has Goblins up for backup to block with, which I feel like normally isn't going to be the case with our opponent since they have a lot of hasty creatures. I just feel like we'll get more value out of it because if we swing in right now, we're only hitting in for 2 and we're losing a creature, and creatures don't really matter to them. They'll throw a Mog War Marshal in front of it and they'll get another Goblin token, so it'll replace itself. It's really not worth it. Let's go with the Cruin Striker, just like last turn. So that way when we drop the Firewalker in next turn, we're going to have 2/3/1s with Trample. They're probably not going to pay the Echo cost because why would they? They're going to get a token out of it. He was a 1/1. They drop a land, so they now have 3. I think they're playing a little more conservatively than they have been in the past. They're bolting our Soul's Attendant. No! Alright, it's no big deal. They're going to swing in for 2. I think we'll take that. If we draw a land, hopefully it's a white sword. Actually, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's not colorless like Ghost Quarter, because then I'll be able to bolt their blocker. Oh, no, they're playing a Fanatic. It doesn't much matter then. Trying to devise a plan and they already messed it up. 2 Fanatics. Okay, another set of Impact Tremors. So this is all the Impact Tremors we have in our deck, and we don't want any of them right now. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I say we should lead on the Firewalker, because every time they're casting a red spell, we're gonna gain a life. It'll replace our Warden. I say we go with that. Plus this turn we can swing in and deal a little bit of damage. I'm not sure if it's worth it still. Probably not. Let's just lead on the Firewalker, and we'll call that a turn. We've had some land-light draws recently. This deck has plenty of lands for how much it costs. Oh man, it's really gonna hurt to get Bushwhackered though. Alright, opponent, please don't have a Bushwhacker. Oh, they have Scouring Sands. What does that do? It does 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls. I have never even heard of that card. It's kind of like Electrickery. Okay, well, there goes our Cruin Strikers. We probably should have swung in with them, but hindsight, am I right? Yes, let's gain a life off of that. And what else does our opponent have? They follow up with Legion Loyalists, so we're going to gain another life off of that. Man, if we just drew some land, and let's definitely block, and let's get rid of, yeah, we're getting rid of that Legion Loyalist, for sure. Our turn, and still not a land. This really doesn't look good for us, guys. Well, we can leave up Bolt. We have to stay back on defense. Stop drawing action, opponent. Yes, I'd like to gain a life. Okay, so they're moving to combat. I am going to bolt, I believe. I'm going to bolt the Loyalist right now. They're going to swing with the team. Nope, they're not. Okay, fantastic. I'm always glad to hear that. Let's drop a Warden out there to keep our life gain up. Oh, okay, they scooped it. They couldn't beat our life gain. Let's go to the sideboard. I feel like we were alright. We were in a very good position to win the game if we just drew lands. I'm probably going to avoid a land light hand if I can. But besides that, I think the deck was perfectly fine, and we will run it back as is. And we have 3 lands. That is great. I like this hand. We will keep it. What do you have, opponent? We can also use the Boros Charm to protect us from the Scouring Sands our opponent brought in. So that's pretty good. They play a Mountain, Surprise, and a Mog Fanatic. So I'm going to say that we almost don't lead on the Attendant. I say we leave Bolt open, and the reason I say that is because the second I play it, he's either going to untap, bolt it, or he's going to sack his Fanatic and get rid of the Attendant. So yeah, let's go with the Mountain, and we'll leave Bolt open for our opponent. We can take 1 here, and then bolt their second play, which I feel like I'll take the 1 here. I'm going to see what they play, but I might end up bolting the Fanatic regardless, just because I'm going to assume that they don't have Bolt in their hand. I'm just going to hope that they don't have Bolt in their hand. So, yeah, alright. So that way we can lay down our Soul's Attendant. We'll take the 1 and see if they go to play anything. If they don't... Okay, what do they have? Mog War Marshal. That is not something I care about too much. I'm going to bolt the Fanatic. They're going to sacrifice to do 1 damage to us. I'm just making them get rid of it so that way they can't use it to get rid of our Attendant. That's all. Because it's our only way of gaining life at this current point in time. Alright, so it's back to our turn. We get another bolt. That's fantastic. I'm going to... Alright, I'm going to lead on the Attendant. And then I think I'm going to dash in the Berserker right now, just to gain another life. I don't think I'm actually going to swing in with it. Let's always, yes, always yield. And then we'll pass it up over to our opponent. Because I know how our opponent doesn't really care about their creatures whatsoever. Alright, they let the War Marshal go away. They get their token. We gain a life. What else are they doing? Oh man, they're going to sack it. Alright. Well, if that's what they do, that's what they do. Yep, they sacked it to get rid of our attendant. Raging Goblin. And here comes 2. That's fine. I mean, the fact that they had to go through all that trouble to get rid of our attendant means we were doing pretty good, in my opinion. Okay, we have a Wall of Omens, which I think I'm going to lead on with, so that way we can potentially get another card here that will be playable. Maybe even one of our combo pieces a turn early. It definitely stops them from swinging in, which I'm happy with. And we can decide from there whether or not to leave up. Oh, we have another Lightning Berserker. Okay, so they're going to Goblin Bushwhacker. I think it's good that I left the bolt open because I'm going to take out their Bushwhacker, I believe. And then we will block and take 4. Okay, we get another land. Opposite problem of what we had last turn, or last game. Okay, we can give a creature double strike. Not that helpful. We can have our permanents gain indestructible, which we might be able to use as a combat trick against our opponent next turn. I say we play both Berserkers without their dash. I know it's kind of against what the deck's like all designed for, but if they swing in next turn with even a pumped team, as long as they don't have first strike, I can throw the Boros Charm down and give our creatures indestructible, which I think is what we're gonna do. We have to play around their strategy too sometimes. We don't always have to go directly for what we are trying to do. We have to be interactive when the time calls for it. So let's pass it back to our opponent and see what they do. We're hoping to triple block, maybe, yeah, we'll block what we have to. Hopefully getting rid of a lot of their creatures in the process. Okay, so they're going to play another Mog War Marshal. Let's see if they swing. It'd be interesting. Goblin Grenade. What are they going to target with said grenade? The Wall of Omens. Well, I think that we are going to keep the Wall of Omens, opponent. Permanents I control, gain indestructible. So, nice try. Swing in if you want. I mean, we didn't really get the blowout that we wanted, but they still sacked a goblin for it and wasted a card. Yeah, they're not dumb enough to swing in. Oh, perfect. We have a Restoration Angel. That is fantastic. All right. So, play that. I think that we hold off. When our opponent swings in, we will drop a resto and eat one of their goblins. Well, let's cast a Restoration Angel. We'll blink a Wall of Omens to get a card. Opponent seems to be reading the Wall of Omens to see what's going on. There we go. We draw a land, unfortunately. But we will... Okay, we're going to block and block. We'll leave our Berserkers up in case we don't draw action next turn. See, we didn't draw action. It's a good thing that we didn't sacrifice our Berserkers. Oh, we're at 5 minutes on the clock. I didn't even realize we were playing so slowly. Alright, and we're beginning combat. We're going to attack, 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 and we'll pass the turn. Your turn, opponent. What do you have? If they drop a Bushwhacker, we lose. Okay, Legion Loyalist is not a Bushwhacker. They have one card in hand. Alright, and we will block with what we can. We are down to 5. Do they... Okay, they didn't have a Goblin Grenade. We'll move to combat. We'll swing with everything. We'll see what's blocked. Oh, do they have Bolt? Alright, let's pump. And we win. Awesome. Well, this has been Ted with Giant Monster Games, and I will see you in the next video.